Marked by another glorious building, this one dedicated to God rather than some king or noble, is the city of Chartres. Here we see not the extravagance of rich elites, but the extravagance of medieval piety, a site which for centuries heartened the weary spirits of approaching pilgrims. To this day, visitors come to Chartres to see its cathedral, and they find that the city itself is a delight. And wherever you are in Chartres, its massive cathedral seems to loom overhead. For over 800 years, the church has attracted travelers and inspired those who visit. The earlier church burned in 1194. It was rebuilt so quickly and lavishly that it has a much appreciated unity of architecture, statuary, and stained glass. It captures the spirit of the 13th century, the so-called Age of Faith, like no other church. The architecture is Gothic, which was all the rage in the 1200s. Gothic architects create a skeleton of support with columns, pointed arches, and buttresses, so that the walls no longer need to support the heavy stone ceiling, but are freed up to hold windows. Chartres is most famous for its stained glass and statues. It's like a picture book of the entire Christian story told through its art. In the Book of Chartres, as some nickname the church, the text is the sculpture and windows, and its binding is the architecture. The individual figures create a cohesive ensemble, and in this case, in a cathedral dedicated to Notre Dame or Our Lady, it all leads to Mary. Here she is on her deathbed. Then, angels gently whisk her upward so she can sit on the throne with Jesus in paradise, where she's flanked by angels and crowned Queen of Heaven. The nave is vast, over 400 feet long and the widest in France, and the Gothic structure allowed for plenty of windows. Chartres contains the world's largest surviving collection of medieval stained glass, with over 150 early 13th century windows. The light pouring through these windows was mystical and encouraged meditation and prayer. Stained glass was used to help teach Bible stories to the illiterate medieval masses. While the faithful back then may have been illiterate, understanding the rich symbolism in each of these windows inspired them to live their dark and dreary medieval lives with hope. Paris was born centuries before Christ, right here on the Ile de la Cité, an island in the middle of the Seine River. The Romans conquered the local fishing tribe and set up camp. Today, the Notre Dame Cathedral marks the place where a Roman temple once stood. The city's first bishop, St. Denis, holds his head in his hands. When Christianity began making converts here, the pagan Romans beheaded him. But, according to legend, Denis just picked up his head and kept on going. Inspired by this miracle, Christianity flourished, and the temple was replaced by a church. Imagine the faith of the people who built this, breaking ground in 1163 on a building which wouldn't be finished for 200 years. Gothic architects incorporated the latest technology, flying buttresses, to support the heavy rooftop. Its ghoulish gargoyles multitask. They serve as fancy rainspouts and scare away the evil spirits. The church is dedicated to Our Lady, or Notre Dame. Mary cradles the baby Jesus. The rose window provides a majestic halo. The Virgin Mary was highly revered throughout the Middle Ages. The faithful petitioned her in times of trouble for both comfort and, through her intervention, God's mercy. As worshippers headed for Mass, they'd walk under a relief of Judgment Day. Christ sits on his throne, the trumpet sounds, all are judged: peasants, knights, nobles, royals, even bishops. An angel weighs cute little souls while cheating demons yank on the scales. The saved stand happily at Christ's right hand. The damned, a sorry chain gang, are on his left. Carvings like that, and like this scene of Eve tempting Adam with an apple, remind us that this art was more than decoration. These images reinforced the stories people learned in church.